Rob Van Dam, listen to Tru Heel Heat. Pow.
Hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. We are back once again with another year-end list. This time, Tru Heel Heat's top 10 best major shows of 2022, the best pay-per-views, premium live events, major events from every single promotion across the wrestling world, voted on by the fans, friends, and contributors here at the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. Of course, I am here with one of our esteemed colleagues of the channel. We have the man you see every single week on Tuesday with Romeo and Chris G watching NXT, as well as every Thursday watching Impact Wrestling on Blunt Impact. You see him on NX3, you see him on Elite Heat. This is Ness.
Tru Heels, what's the deal? Shout out to my good brother SP3, talking about the best show. This is the best shows, right? Best shows of. There's a lot of fucking shows, so I don't know what I'm going to expect on this. This is going to be natural reactions because I don't know. I don't know what to expect. There's a lot of shows that there's a lot of shit I did watch, a lot of shit I didn't watch, but I heard about it. So see what antics we're going to get into.
Yes, we got a couple of shows to get into here from our honorable mentions, as well as our top 10 list. Once again, this is voted on by the fans, as well as the friends and the contributors that you see every single day here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. But this was voted on by us. We gave everyone the opportunity to vote in and give nominations. We have 30 total nominations. So this is the list that we came up with based on the nominations everyone gave us. Their five best shows of 2022, and you got 5 points for first place, 4 points for second place, 3 points for third place, and so on, so forth. And this is how the list came to be. But this is not the list. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your opinion. So in the comments down below, let us know if we missed out on one of the best major shows of 2022 that should have made our list, whether in the honorable mentions or in the top 10. Let us know in the comments down below. And remember to drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. And if you are new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. Ness, let's get into this. We got our honorable mentions coming in at number 15 on our list. You got Stardom Gold Rush 2022 coming in with 4 points on 2 nominations. This happened on the same day as AEW Full Gear. This was the show that was headlined by what we discussed on the top 10, on the top 20 best matches of 2022. This had the Shuri versus Utami Hayashita, a big rematch for the World of Stardom Championship. One of the best women's matches of the year right there. It had another spectacular match with Kairi going one-on-one with the Wonder of Stardom champion Saya Kamatani, who's one of the best high flyers in the business, male or female. They had a great match as well. So plenty of great action. Stardom, the best female promotion in the world, not just in Japan, in the world today. And this was probably one of their better shows of 2022. Also on the honorable mentions coming in at number 14, you got WWE Survivor Series War Games with 5 points on 2 nominations. Of course, you had the men's and women's War Games. Sami Zayn betraying Kevin Owens, officially solidifying his alliance with the Bloodline, helping them win the men's War Games. In the women's War Games, Becky Lynch making her return to help Team Bianca defeat Team Bayley and Damage Control. You also had the great triple threat match with Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley. Also had one of the worst matches of the year with Ronda Rousey and Shotzi for the SmackDown Women's Championship. WWE Crown Jewel comes in at number 13, Ness, with 5 points on 2 nominations. That had the Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul undisputed WWE Universal Championship matchup. Had a really good Bianca Belair versus Bayley last woman standing match. Very polarizing as well, because some people hated that match. Some people liked it. I'm a Damage Control fan, so I hated it. But nonetheless, still on this list here, that also had OC versus Judgment Day on that card as well. Yeah, WWE Extreme Rules with 6 points, 1 first place vote, 2 nominations coming in at number 12. That had Bray Wyatt's return to WWE. You had Edge and Finn Balor in an I Quit match that a lot of people really enjoyed. Brawling Brutes versus Imperium in an Irish Donnybrook 6-man tag. That was fantastic. Love that matchup. You also had Bianca Belair versus Bayley in a ladder match. In my opinion, the better of their 2 matches that they had this year was on that card as well. And then finally at number 11, just missing out on our list here, our top 10 list of here in the honorable mentions, ROH Final Battle with 8 points on 3 nominations. All 3 of the nominations were the 4 extra out of the 4 extra nominations that we got after our year-end awards on Tru Heel Heat 206. Putting in Final Battle here in the honorable mentions at 8 points. Of course, Final Battle had the third match of the trilogy with FTR and the Briscoes, double dog collar match, bloody spectacle that was. You got Claudio Castagnoli beating Chris Jericho with a fucking swing. Yes, he did, and I loved it, to regain the ROH World Championship. Wheeler Yuta defeating Daniel Garcia in a brilliant match to regain the ROH Pure Championship. Swerve in Our Glory versus Shane Taylor Promotions was awesome. Great stuff on all of these cards. Which show would you say, or shows, stand out the most from the honorable mentions?
Definitely Final Battle. I don't know. I guess it might be recency bias because it was a great show and like had the greatest tag team match of the year. So definitely that. And I figured a lot of WWE shows are going to be honorable mentions. It's like there's going to be WWE shows on on our list, but I figure like more of them will be like left out for other shows and other promotions.
Yeah, just missing out on the honorable mentions was SummerSlam. I thought SummerSlam would have got more votes, being Triple H's first show as kind of the head of creative. I thought that would have got more votes.
I mean, probably because bringing back Damage Control didn't really, help.
Didn't pay off too well there, H. Let's get into the top 10, though, Ness. Coming in at number 10 with 10 points, including Ness. 1 first place vote out of their 5 nominations. WWE WrestleMania 38, Night 2. Night 2.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Coming in at number 10, WrestleMania 38, Night 2. Yes, Night 2. Had a great opener with RK Bro defeating the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. Had the hilarious Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville jackass spectacle that was so much funnier than it had any right to be. Had the great debut for Pat McAfee with the crowd singing his song and defeating Austin Theory. But it also had one of the worst matches of the year. And that is actually voted by you, the fans, as the worst match of 2022 on our year-end awards of Vince McMahon at 76, coming out of retirement and defeating Pat McAfee, who got 0 offense on him. It also had the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match, which probably is their worst match of their WrestleMania trilogy because nothing happened. People thought Roman got injured, but nope, that didn't happen. They didn't do anything for all 8 minutes of this WrestleMania main event, billed as the biggest WrestleMania main event of all time. Ugh. Sheesh. Ugh. I can't believe 5 people voted for this show.
I can't believe anybody voted for this shit at all, to be honest.
I think maybe people just thought. I think the 5 people probably thought they were voting for night 1 and instead voted for night 2.
I got beside myself. I have to apologize. I thought you were going to say night 1. That I was about to be upset. Like number 10? But if it's WrestleMania, so if a night had to make number 10, it would be night 2.
I don't think night 2 should have even made our list.
I don't either.
But
I'm giving it the fact that plot armor, that's anime talk. Plot armor, it's WrestleMania.
As someone who I saw every honorable mention that we just said on our honorable mention. Every single one of those shows is better than WrestleMania 38 Night 2. Every one of those shows. Final Battle, Extreme Rules, Crown Jewel. And Crown Jewel is not even that great of a show. It's just saved by the main event. That's not even great of a show. Still better than WrestleMania 38 Night 2. Survivor Series better. Stardom Gold Rush is better. Jesus Christ, I can't believe they did this. All right, we can move on now. Coming in at number 9. Coming in at number 9 here on 5 nominations, 13 points, including 2 first place votes. This included those 2 first place votes were from the extra nominations that we got after our year-end awards. We got NJPW X Stardom, Historic Crossover, the first major event of New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom working together. A lot of interpromotional matches, like you had Shuri teaming up with Tom Lawler to verse Julia and Zack Sabre Jr. You had Hiroki Goto teaming up with Maki to verse Yatami Hayashita and Hiroshi Tanahashi. But this show will be remembered for its semi-main event and main event match with Will Ospreay defeating Shota Umino to retain the IWGP United States Championship in a great matchup. But then after the match, the more memorable moment was Kenny Omega making his first appearance via a video message to challenge Will Ospreay for Wrestle Kingdom 17. And then after that, in the main event, you had the ladies of Stardom shining as Kairi defeated Mayu Iwatani in one of the best women's matches of 2022 to become the first ever IWGP Women's Champion. History being made, had a historic crossover, definitely deserving of being on our list here. Would you like to see New Japan do more of these co-promotional events? Because they always hit for me. I loved all the ROH New Japan shows back in 2014, 2015, 2016. I loved the other major show that I know we're going to talk about later in this with New Japan and AEW. And I love this show as well. Do you want to see more with New Japan working with these promotions?
Of course. As long as we get to see these great matchups, I definitely want to see it. Again, I'm a huge fan of tag team wrestling. The more people, the more we can get. Just singles doesn't even matter. I just need more wrestling. It's not even enough time to watch the wrestling that we do watch now. Just give me more of that.
Honestly do. Yeah, I thought this was probably New Japan's best show of the year. It's either this or Battle Autumn for me, but I just love the uniqueness of this show. It just felt very fresh for what New Japan usually offers. But let's get into number 8, and we're moving up here from historic crossover with 13 points. Our number 8 entry comes in with 20 points on 7 nominations, including 2 first place votes. You got AEW Double or Nothing from May in Las Vegas. Double or Nothing had a 15 match card. This was the ridiculous one where Tony was like stacking up the matches to go past Game 7 of Boston and Miami. But this card had plenty of great stuff on it. You had Death Triangle and House of Black tearing it up in an awesome trios matchup. You had Kyle O'Reilly and Darby Allin having an underrated sprint of a gem. Those two kind of mixing of styles going at it. The awesome triple threat match with Jurassic Express defeating Team Taz and Swerve in Our Glory. But of course, a lot of people will remember Double or Nothing for a couple of things. Of course, the first ever crowning of the Owen Hart Cup winners with Britt Baker winning the women's and Adam Cole winning the men's. Thunder Rosa had one of the best women's matches of the year for AEW, defeating Serena Deeb for the AEW Women's World Championship. But everybody remembers Anarchy in the Arena, Jericho Appreciation Society defeating the Puerto Rican Blackpool Combat Club of Eddie Kingston, Santana Ortiz, Bryan Danielson, and John Moxley. Of course, Eddie Kingston with the zombie walk trying to light Jericho and Bryan on fire. And of course, the main event with CM Punk defeating Hangman Adam Page to become the AEW World Champion. Everyone thought the world of AEW was all on the up. But my, oh my, how perception has changed. I think that this card has more good than bad on it. It just was so long that, in my opinion, it was the worst AEW pay-per-view of the year for me.
I can agree with that. Just because it was just so much going on, and their pay-per-views are already long. Like, you just made it longer. Pause. But I don't know why. I think I probably fucking cut off, like, and just been like, I gotta go to sleep. I'm too high for this at one point. And then tried to watch the rest of the show later. Like, I couldn't make it through. I'm just like, shit, this is a lot of wrestling, which I just said I want a lot of wrestling. I'm sorry, I'm hypocrite. Fickle.
It's like I tapped out on this one.
Yeah, I had to.
It's fair. It's fair, man. This was a very long show. It was very long in the tooth. And I'm not one to complain about the long show, especially for the people that are paying, all this money for the pay-per-view or paying to go there and make the travel to these shows. Of course, I want them to have a 4.5+ hour show. But when it goes into 5 hours, and I was living in the UK at that point, so I literally had to watch the sun come up as CM Punk won the AEW World Championship. Never again. That was a bad experience.
That's how you feel watching New Japan live.
Speaking of which, coming in at number 7.
Oh, shit. Great segue.
Coming in at number 7 on 27 points, 11 nominations. You got Wrestle Kingdom 16. And I'm saying Wrestle Kingdom 16, unlike WrestleMania, people just voted for Wrestle Kingdom 16. They didn't specify night 1 or night 2, so we just put all the points together. So Wrestle Kingdom 16 comes in at number 27. It was a 2-night Wrestle Kingdom. First night was headlined by Kazuchika Okada, regaining the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship from Shingo Takagi in a sublime main event. Okada regaining the gold here to set up the night 2 main event, which was even better than night 1, with Okada retaining the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Will Ospreay in one of the greatest Tokyo Dome main events in history, rated 5 3/4 stars from Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. You also had on these 2-night show, Tanahashi defeating Kenta for the IWGP United States Championship with one of the most insane stunts you will ever see from a 45-year-old man, with Tanahashi doing the high fly flow off of the rinkiest, shakiest fucking ladder ever. And threw Kenta through a table that broke Kenta's face. You also had Hiromu Takahashi and El Desperado having a great junior heavyweight title match. So there was plenty of great stuff beyond these 2-night shows. But I think even years from now, people are going to remember the 2-night main event of Okada Shingo and then Okada and Ospreay. But what do you think?
Yeah, definitely going to remember both main events. Once again, Wrestle Kingdom's definitely going to be on here. I didn't know. I think I voted for Wrestle Kingdom. honestly don't know if I put night 1 or night 2. So I am probably one of those people that didn't do it right. So it needed to be on here. Great show, great double main events back to back, just 5-star matches, and then everything else on down the card. Like Wrestle Kingdom always hits, like regardless.
I will say this was the first of the 2-night Wrestle Kingdoms where I was like, this would have been better just having one night. So I am happy that coming up in 2023, we just have one night of Wrestle Kingdom. And I think that's going to make for the better show, especially with the card they have put together where they just stacked it upon stacked it. I'm used to those type of Wrestle Kingdom cards where this year it really felt like they split one really good Wrestle Kingdom card into one good card and one card that fell a little short, because I feel like the first night of Wrestle Kingdom, I'm only going to remember Okada and Shingo and not much else. Where I will remember from night 2 that Tanahashi died. That was ridiculous. That man should have not been doing that in his mid.
I was going to say that probably shouldn't have happened. That's why.
Let's get into number 6 here, Ness. Coming in at number 6, we're going up even more. 32 points on 11 nominations, including 2 first-place votes. We got AEW Full Gear from November 19th in Newark, New Jersey. This show, in my opinion, was one of AEW's better shows of the year. In a lot of people's eyes, this belongs on the Mount Rushmore of some people's eyes of AEW pay-per-views, because that feeling of AEW being exciting again was back. And a lot of that came down to the return of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, the Elite, coming out to carry on My Wayward Son, starting off what we didn't know was going to be a best-of-7 series, facing Death Triangle for the AEW World Trios Championships in an absolutely beautiful, just spot-foo, fantastic trios matchup that started off the best-of-7, in my opinion, the best AEW match of 2022. But this card, top to bottom, just was filled with great matches, whether on the buy-in with Eddie Kingston versus Jun Akiyama. The start of the show had the steel cage match with Jungle Boy having like his coming out party, an elevating type of performance, defeating Luchasaurus, with that dive off the steel cage with the elbow through the table. You had Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter defeating Tony Storm with the best women's match that AEW had on pay-per-view this year. And then, of course, it all ends with MJF winning the AEW World Championship from Jon Moxley, thanks to the brass knuckles of William Regal. The finish that I wanted, I got it. That's not even to mention the terrific fatal 4-way for the ROH World Championship. This has Soraya's first match in 5 years against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Man, this card is just fucking ridiculous. Going back and looking at it, I think this is going to be remembered as one of the better shows of 2022 overall, but definitely for AEW.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it wasn't top 5. Like, it's just outside of that, but nonetheless, it's still top 10, definitely. I think it might have been a top 5, but that's just me personally. But yeah, not everybody thinks that. So 6 isn't bad.
What was your favorite match from Full Gear?
Oh man, I gotta say Mox and MJF, because I was thinking the whole time, like, from their interactions, him and Regal, I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's gonna turn on him. So I was just waiting for it to happen. I'm like, all right, okay, see how we go here. But yeah, it just had great matches all up and down the card. Shout out to Jamie Hayter. I've been rooting for Jamie Hayter for the longest. I'm waiting for that, Batista Triple H situation to happen between her and Britt Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah, just great shit on this show. Like, I'm kind of baffled that it's not top 5, but neither here nor there. I'm not gonna cry about it.
Hey, I had it in my top 5. I don't know why others didn't, but let's go on to number 5 here. Coming in at number 5 on 13 nominations, including 3 first place votes, 43 points overall. We got AEW All Out. AEW All Out from Chicago. I was there live on Labor Day weekend. Of course, you had the Elite winning the first ever AEW World Trios Championships in a superb trios match with Dark Order. The great moment with Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega across the ring from each other nearly a year after their classic battle for the AEW World Championship. You had the Acclaim's big moment with the daddy ass chants, "Oh, scissor me, daddy." The Acclaim will always be remembered for stealing the show at All Out with Swerve and Our Glory for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. You also had CM Punk defeating Jon Moxley in what I thought was another great main event matchup, with Punk defeating Moxley to regain the AEW World Championship. And then in the end, it was MJF coming out, revealing himself to be the devil and returning to set up what we thought was going to be the culmination of the trilogy between CM Punk and MJF. But of course, and then there was Brawl Out. So I'm very much surprised, because I thought, like me, I associate this pay-per-view with what happened
the result
after,
of Brawl Out.
with what happened afterward. But I mean, going back and recapping it, there was a lot of great on this show, but there also was a lot of bad even before we get to Brawl Out. That finish to the casino ladder match is one of the worst finishes in AEW history. You just had the Firm coming out where we didn't even really know it was the Firm, just jumping all the guys in the match. And then you have Stokely Hathaway going up the ladder and grabbing it like he's James Ellsworth and handing it to the devil Carmella of MJF behind a mask. Of course, in the end, we find out it's MJF and it's fine. But at the moment, that was an awful finish. You had the awful 5 minutes that they gave Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. It was a good 5 minutes, but they only got 5 minutes after having one of the best build-ups going into the show. Christian and Jungle Boy is just a fucking angle. Like, this show has a lot of fucking duds on it. Jade Cargill and Athena. What do you think? Coming in at number 5, All Out, Ness.
Fucking Brawl Out was the reason why I got it in my top 5. Like, definitely everything you just mentioned. But again, great show for the great part of it. But like the stench of what happened afterwards is we're not picking no sides. It's going to happen to every promotion, because people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. It was still a good show, regardless of how the show ends. Like, no, we're going to remember it for the ending. Like, this is what I'm going to remember me leaving the show with. So, I mean, all right, it was great, but everything happened after the fact is just like, ugh. So I can see it being on the top 10. I just wouldn't have it in my top 5. I would have, what was the last one we just talked about?
Full Gear. I would have Full Gear.
I would have Full Gear. Yeah. Full Gear would be in the number 5 place, and All Out would be in number 6 in my list.
And All Out I have higher than Double or Nothing. So I'm not even saying All Out because of Brawl Out. It's the worst show for AEW this year. I think Double or Nothing, because it was just so drawn out. Even based on the long format that AEW pay-per-views go, Double or Nothing felt so drawn out that I felt like it was worse than any other AEW pay-per-view. I thought All Out was better. Maybe that's because I never went back and watched it after being there live, because I didn't want to go watch it, because all I wanted to watch was Brawl. It was the Brawl Out press conference with CM Punk afterwards, and that's all I'm gonna remember from that. Despite there being some great stuff like the Elite versus Dark Order, this is the pay-per-view that not only started the upward rise for the Acclaim being rising stars and breakout stars, it also started for Jamie Hayter. If we don't remember, with the whole 4-way with Sheeta, Baker, and Storm.
Yeah, a lot of good, but A lot of bad.
Still a lot of bad. It's also had Kingston versus Tomohiro Ishii on the buy-in, the 0 hour show. So man, there was some good on the show, but I don't know about number 5, folks. But here it is, 43 points, number 5, All Out. Let's move on to number 4, Ness, coming in at number 4 on 13 nominations, including 2 first place votes, 50 points overall. WWE Clash at the Castle. Clash at the Castle will forever be remembered for hosting one of the greatest matches in WWE history. Gunther versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. A well-deserved 5-star rating for the Wrestling Observer newsletter. But this right here was in front of 70,000 fans. UK fans are always the loudest, and they were very loud in Cardiff, Wales, in this stadium. And then it was just Triple H's.
Talk about it.
It was Triple H's first show as the head booker, first official show where he booked the whole show, and he booked a takeover. He booked a takeover for the Cardiff fans. You had a fun six woman opener with Damage Control defeating Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Bianca Belair. You had a little fun matchup with Liv Morgan beating Shayna Baszler. You had the classic with Gunther and Sheamus. You had Roman Reigns. You had Seth Rollins defeating Matt Riddle in a great matchup off of their great build-up on Monday Night Raw heading in. That felt personal, felt like a real grudge match. And then finally, Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre had some of the best atmosphere for a WWE main event in 2022, with that Cardiff crowd begging WWE to crown Drew McIntyre, and they just delivered, to put on 2 great performances. You had Austin Theory coming out for the nice spot with Tyson Fury knocking him out. Then you had Solo Sikoa coming in and helping Roman Reigns retain the undisputed Universal Championships. And we would all like to think that the show ended right there. And if it did, I think that this card, this should be in the top 2, honestly. This is probably the best WWE show they have put on in a decade, in my opinion. This is probably the best, I'm going to think about this, the best WWE main roster show since WrestleMania 30, with Bryan Danielson winning the WWE Championship and The Undertaker streak ending. I think this is as good, because this was just takeover booking on a fucking WWE main roster show, and we got a match of the year candidate on it. Clash at the Castle, my favorite WWE show of 2022. What did you think about it?
Yeah, Clash of the Castle definitely had my favorite WWE match of the year. But once again, like, it had a lot of matches. I go into WWE pay-per-views or PLEs with very low expectations. I already know not to get my hopes up, because when I do, I'm usually disappointed. And that's what I've been looking at WWE lately. So it's been all right. So great show. What I remember is that after the main event with Tyson Fury and Drew McIntyre singing.
Bye,
why are you just lost?
American
Why are you singing? You just lost. Why are you singing? There's nothing to think. Like, I don't get it.
I was very much surprised nobody voted for this on the worst booking decisions of 2022, because they just threw a big cold bucket of water on one of the best shows that they ever did by ending it in that fashion. It would be like if WrestleMania 17 ended with The Rock singing with fucking Snoop Dogg in 2001. That's what you ended one of the greatest shows in WWE history with the loser of the main event fucking singing. What were they thinking?
They weren't. Who thought this was a good idea? They were like, oh, well, he's not going to win, but he can sing you a song.
Doof.
That's all we got for you. Take it or leave it.
Fucking doof. Let's move on to number 3, Ness. Coming in at number 3, we're going up even more from 50 points for Clash at the Castle. We got 61 points for number 3, coming in with 15 nominations, including 4 first place votes. WWE WrestleMania 38 Night 1. Yes, Night 1 of WrestleMania delivered one of the best WrestleManias in history, honestly. If you take Night 1 and from the point where Becky Lynch comes out for the Raw Women's Championship, this delivers probably the best hour and a half of WWE pay-per-view that I've seen in quite some time. Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair giving us one of the best women's matches of 2022, with Bianca regaining the Raw Women's Championship. Then you have Cody Rhodes returning to WWE, a former AEW executive vice president, showing up at WrestleMania 38 in front of 60, 70, 80,000 fans in that building in Dallas to a huge ovation. As the American Nightmare with his AEW theme song, and then delivering a fantastic bout with Seth Rollins, one of the best in the company. Yeah, there was Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair for the Then you had the Kevin Owens show turns into Stone Cold Steve Austin having his first match in a WWE ring in 19 years, and it being really damn good, and his first bump being a flat back bump on concrete against Kevin Owens. Man, WrestleMania 38, yes, well deserved to be on our list here. Do you think that it deserved to be in the top 2? Or what did you think? I think that there is a debate. What was the better WWE show this year of WrestleMania 38 Night 1 and Clash at the Castle? Where do you stand?
I'm going to give it to WrestleMania Night 1, not solely because of what happened after the main event of Clash at the Castle, but I just think that it was like a lot more consistent on the surface for WrestleMania. Like there was a lot of bad on WrestleMania too, or like a lot of shit that I was.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, Clash at the Castle, I would definitely say is the more consistent show. What I would say about WrestleMania is that maybe the highs were higher.
Like, yeah, they're like the matches that were supposed to hit, they hit. So even though it's like a fucking 4 or 5 hour show, so if you cut down half of that, I don't know. But they kind of, 1A, 1B type of thing.
Yeah, I think you can't go wrong. There's going to be people that love the pomp and circumstance, and they'll say WrestleMania 38 was the better show. If you like pure
Clash of
wrestling,
the Castle again had the best match of the best WWE match of the year.
But just
Probably
look at this card. Tell me where, in the words of Bobby Fish, where's the lie? In this card has no misses. You got the Damage Control versus Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka. You got Gunther versus Sheamus. You had Liv and Shayna. You had Edge and Ray versus the Judgment Day. That was good, but it led to the Judgment Day being recovered out of nowhere by Dominic turning heel and joining them. So that has to be looked back fondly. And then you finish off the night with Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle and Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. There's no misses on that card, in my opinion.
That's a strong argument. That is a very strong argument. Run down WrestleMania now.
Yeah, I was about to pull that up. WrestleMania 38.
There's going to be a lot of shit on here that I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Like that's what I think is the issue, is that when you come to the end of the year, you will always remember the stuff you liked a lot more than the stuff you didn't like. And I feel like that was the case when we did our top 20 best matches of the year, when people were putting Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. I was like, they just really remember the first 15 minutes of the entrance, the beginning of the match, the middle portion, and they just tend to forget the finish where the referee puts fucking Seth's hand on the goddamn ropes. I will never forgive that bullshit. This show was the one with the Usos and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Rick Boogs. That match where Rick Boogs gets injured. This show also had Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin for 8 minutes and 35 seconds. Logan Paul was good. Logan Paul and The Miz versus Ray and Dominic. That was fun because Logan Paul was good. But we also had the show that I didn't say loudly, but I'll say it now. It also had Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey smackdown in the middle of Cody's return and Stone Cold's return. And definitely it was the worst of the two Ronda versus Charlotte matches. It's the worst out of the 3 Ronda versus Charlotte matches that they've ever had.
That's a very strong argument.
Clash at the Castle. It's a better show. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you put it that way. Yeah. You know, I smoke a lot. I forgot a lot of shit. I guess the spectacle of WrestleMania hit me. But from Bianca and Becky, that was like where it turned up for me. I remember that. So yeah, but Clash of the Castle overall, again, the best WWE match of the year on there. So I don't know how I can say that and not think that is top 2 or
like
over over WrestleMania.
Like I said, some people are going to value the pomp and circumstance, and especially with WrestleMania, your expectations are high, and usually your expectations that you're going to get like that one WrestleMania moment. They don't expect a show that has 3 bona fide WrestleMania moments, and Bianca winning the Raw Women's title, Cody's return, and then Austin being back in the ring in the first time in 19 years. You don't expect that, so I understand why people have it so high. Let's though move on to number 2, Ness, coming in at number 2 with 64 points on 18 nominations, including 4 first place votes. AEW x New Japan Forbidden Door. This one was the first big event with AEW and NJPW teaming up together to sell out the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. But this was also a show that was mired by injuries all across the board for AEW. No CM Punk, no Bryan Danielson, no Kenny Omega. Hiromu Takahashi got taken off of this card. Tomohiro Ishii got taken off this card for New Japan. Despite all of that, this is a card that legitimately, no question, is a banger after banger after banger type of card. It starts off with a great Jericho Appreciation Society with Jericho and Sammy Guevara teaming up with Minoru Suzuki to verse Shota Umino, Wheeler Yuta, and Eddie Kingston with the fiery Eddie Kingston versus Suzuki portion of this matchup. Then you had the 4-way to determine the first ever All-Atlantic champion with Pac winning, Clark Connors having a breakout moment, the nice interactions between Miro and Malachi Black. You also had Sting showing out and being the best high flyer in the world in his matchup where he teamed up with Darby Allin and Shingo Takagi to verse the Bullet Club's El Phantasmo and the Young Bucks. You had Claudio Castagnoli making his debut in AEW to defeat Zack Sabre Jr. in an absolute technical wrestling clinic to a huge pop from that Chicago crowd. You had one of the best AEW matches of the year with Orange Cassidy once again stealing the show with the best wrestler in the world, Will Ospreay. 4 3/4 stars from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. A lot of damn matches on this card got 4 3/4 stars. This was like the card that had 4 3/4 stars outside of one other, which we'll get to. And then finally, the show ended with Jon Moxley becoming the interim AEW World Champion after an absolutely superb war of attrition with Hiroshi Tanahashi. Great stuff top to bottom. Forbidden Door definitely was in my top 5 shows of the year. What about you, Ness?
Yeah, I actually I remember watching it, but it slipped my mind as in like my ranking for top shows of the year. This definitely was a sleeper. It could have been number 1. It completely slipped my list. Like I completely forgot about it, honestly. But just run down that card, I do remember these matches, and banger show. Yeah. This. I'm not surprised. This is number 2. I'm actually going to probably be surprised with number 1 now. This comes number 2. Like, it's going to be a lot.
we're in the high quality. I would say that these four, the last 3 shows were definitely in contention for my top 5. I'm not sure if WrestleMania Night 1 I had in my top 5 or not. I gotta go back and see what I picked, but it was definitely number 6. If it wasn't in the top 5, this would definitely, those 3 shows were in my top 6 shows of the year. And Forbidden Door also had FTR winning the IWGP tag team titles in a great match against Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan, as well as Roppongi Vice. So top to bottom, man, one of the best shows. But I can't wait for Forbidden Door 2 because you're gonna have Bryan Danielson back.
Everybody's rested up.
Yeah, it's gonna be much better, much better. And I think that's gonna be the card that has Omega Ospreay 2, the rematch from Wrestle Kingdom.
It made the most sense. Hopefully, or maybe we can get Brian and Okada.
I think we'll get Brian and Zack Sabre Jr. there since we didn't get it this year.
Right. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. But without further ado, Ness, let's get into number 1. Coming in at number 1 on 20 nominations, including 6 first place votes, 75 points overall. AEW Revolution from March of this year from Orlando, Florida. This was really AEW at their peak form, coming off of All Out and all the signings. CM Punk making his debut, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole. Full Gear, top to bottom, one of the greatest shows in AEW history, with Hangman Adam Page winning the AEW World Championship. They came into this year with the Punk MJF rivalry, a whole bunch of guys feuding with one another, and they put together one of their greatest cards of all time, starting off with Eddie Kingston pulling out the biggest win of his AEW career, making Chris Jericho tap out in an absolutely amazing encounter between these two men. One of Chris Jericho's greatest singles matches of his entire career. Then you had a non-stop bonkers triple threat tag team matchup with Jurassic Express retaining the AEW World Tag Team titles against the Young Bucks and Red Dragon. You had Wardlow winning the Face of the Revolution ladder match. You had Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. Thunder Rosa coming up just short against Dr. Britt Baker for the AEW World Women's Championship. You had William Regal making his debut in AEW after the superb encounter between Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley, with Moxley picking up the win and William Regal coming out to slap his 2 sons across the face and form the Blackpool Combat Club. You had the culmination of one of the greatest rivalries in AEW history, with an absolutely brutal, violent, and just enthralling dog collar match with CM Punk and MJF, ending with Wardlow officially turning babyface on MJF, handing the ring over to CM Punk to help him win. And then you also had Hangman Adam Page defeating Adam Cole in an excellent AEW world title matchup. The dual Adam chants, the Orlando crowd still on fire after nearly 4 hours of top to bottom. One of the greatest shows in AEW history and one of the greatest shows I've seen ever. This show is just stacked. There is not a lot of things that miss on this card. I would say besides Jay Cargill and Ty Conti, every one of these matches are good to match of the year worthy. You got MJF and CM Punk, which was the AEW match of the year for 2022, voted on by us. You had that. I didn't even mention the Sting with the match that no one had expectations for. Him jumping off the balcony for the first time. This was the first one where everybody was like, "Oh, Sting is nuts. Now he's New Jack." And he's jumping off of stuff. When he jumped through the stacked tables against Andrade and AFO, that was that match. Yeah. That happened here as well. So this whole card is amazing. It happened all the way back in March. So what do you remember most from Revolution?
Definitely a dog collar match. This was actually my pay-per-view. I believe I voted this number one. This definitely wasn't my top five. Probably the best AEW show of the year. Again, the dog collar match, the just a lot of shit is going on here, and it just seemed like everything. The booking was right. Everything was just like good. Like you said, peak AEW. It was coasting, and then we hit Brawl Out, and then just went up. But that's neither here nor there. Revolution's number one. I'm sitting right with it.
Yeah, I think if Forbidden Door, if it didn't have all the injuries kind of plaguing it before he gets to the show, I think I would have
Yeah.
had that number one. But I did remember that when I was voting for this, so I did have Revolution at number one. I think I had Clash at the Castle number two, Forbidden Door number three, a Full Gear number four, and either it was WrestleMania 38 night one or New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax 32 day 12 that had Shingo versus Osprey. I had one of those as my number five.
Oh, if that's the case, then the G1 Climax matches should be on, or just a G1 should be on here. But we know you guys don't.
Well, no, I separated by the day. That'd be cheating if I just said the whole. But day 12 had Shingo and Osprey. It had Jay White versus Great Okan, which was a great match as well. So,
but if you count the matches, that's like a show in itself. It's just over the course of a couple days. But I know it's too technical. We don't got to get in all the fractions and all that other stuff. But just saying.
Yeah, Revolution though, this deserves to be on like the Mount Rushmore of great AEW pay-per-views. Yeah. I think it's AEW All Out 2021, Full Gear 2021, Revolution 2020, Double or Nothing 2019, and AEW Revolution would be my top five best AEW shows ever.
Sounds good.
That is it. AEW Revolution is Tru Heel Heat's best major show of 2022, voted on by the fans, friends, and contributors of the channel. Like I said at the top of the list, this is our list. This is not the list. We want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments down below if you think we missed a show, if you think a show deserved to be higher, if you disagree and don't think AEW Revolution should be the best major show of 2022. Let us know in the comments down below. Ness, please let the people know where they can find you on social media, sir.
You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, skinny__Kravitz, right here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel every Tuesday. NX3, myself, Chris G, Romeo Anthony Colon, we go live watching NXT. Every Thursday, Blunt Impact on Twitch. Follow us at Tru Heel Heat Gaming. Subscribe over Twitch. Me and Chris G go live watching Impact Wrestling. Pop up on Elite Heat, reviews, maybe Rated R Superstars once in a while. Whatever I can, make a cameo.
Showing up everywhere. You've been on the most year-end lists along with me, so I appreciate you putting in that extra work.
Always here to help, good brother. Put a little bit extra in my paycheck.
You know I will. Follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Tru Heel Heat. We got a special year-end list for our Patreon backers, 2 year-end list, the top 10 worst matches of 2022. We're saved that for the Patreon backers. We'll see how it does on Patreon. Maybe we'll drop it for the YouTube channel. We'll put out a poll as well. Ask you guys if you want that list on the YouTube channel. But exclusively for the Patreon backers, you get SP3's top 200 matches of 2022. I've already put together about 140 of them. I'm going to give you just naming them off. I might say 1 or 2 sentences about them, but the must-see matches of 2022, 200 for you, exclusively on Patreon for just $3 a month. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and follow the gang. Subscribe to Tru Heel Heat Sports, where we got even more content, our watch-alongs for the NFL season, ending off with the final 2 weeks of the season, and check out all of the awards that we gave out on the 6th annual Tru Heel Heat Year-End Awards on Tru Heel Heat 206 the final episode of our flagship podcast for 2022. Check out myself, Ness, Chris G. We broke down the top 20 best matches of 2022. That is up on the YouTube channel right now. Myself and Jimmy broke down the top 10 best promos of 2022. Also, you can check out myself and Ness on the top 10 best tag teams of 2022. And we end off our year-end list with the top 10 best female wrestlers and the top 10 best male wrestlers of 2022. All those videos will be dropping throughout New Year's weekend. So thank you so much for your support for all of our year-end lists, for all of our year-end videos, and for us throughout 2022. Happy New Year, happy holidays to everyone watching. Remember to drop the thumbs up on the video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you are new, and hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content that we got in store for you in 2023. So for Ness, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat, top 10 best major shows of 2022. We are signing off until next time.